Hello, my friends! I am here today to talk to you about how to make graphics on your phone with WordSwag and Canva. This video was made got a puppy that wants my attention. This video is being made for my Volo team, but this video is for anybody else who is not with Volo to learn how to make graphics on your phone with WordSwag and Canva as well. So if you are interested in learning more about Volo, the world's first ever spiritual MLM company, please don't hesitate to reach out to me in a comment, or you can email me. I'll leave all of my contact info in the description below. I fully plan to do another video later on how to use Canva on desktop to create graphics, but for now I was actually able to do them from my phone because iPhone has this neat little feature where you can do the screen grab, which I think is really cool, and so I will be walking you through how to do that in just a second. Sit down, please. So let's rock and roll with this training. I'm excited to show you guys some things. First and foremost, I need to kind of touch on a subject that is a little bit personal to me, something that kind of gets me worked up a little bit just because I don't feel like enough people know the importance of this topic, and I think that it's really important to know before we get into creating graphics. Copyright infringement. This is such a big deal, you guys. I don't want anybody to look past this. You've probably heard of copyright infringement, but never really thought too much about it. But I'm seeing more and more on the internet now, so many people using graphics that aren't their own without any credit back to the creator who made them. Whether it's a graphic, whether it's a photo that you're using to put words over, anything that you are taking from Google or Pinterest, this is illegal. You guys, I cannot stress that enough. Really quickly, from Google, this is the definition of copyright infringement. Copyright infringement is the use of works protected by copyright law without permission, infringing certain exclusive rights granted to the copyright holder, such as the right to reproduce, distribute, display, or perform the protected work, or to make derivative works. Sorry, stumbling. Copyright holder is typically the work's creator or a publisher or other business to whom copyright has been assigned. Copyright holders routinely invoke legal and technological measures to prevent and penalize copyright infringement. Copyright infringement disputes are usually resolved through direct negotiation, a notice and takedown process, or litigation in civil court. Here's the deal, you guys. I want you to really quickly think about a picture that you were really, really proud of. Like, say you took a beautiful picture of the sunset one time and you were just so proud of that. Or there's a picture of you and your family together. Now, I want you to take that and feel that, and then think of how it would feel if all of a sudden you saw that photo being used in an article all over the internet, and you didn't get asked permission to use that photo, and that company is now profiting and benefiting from the use of your photo, and you are not getting any sort of compensation, and you are not getting credited for that photo. Credited meaning there is nowhere on the website that you took that photo. Well, I can see that it would be a compliment for somebody to feel like your photo was that good to use on their site. It is still illegal and it's still not right. Now, say that they took that photo and they put some really crappy filter over it, or they put words all over your picture and they're blasting it all over the internet using it for their business. Again, with no compensation to you, with no credit back to you. That would hurt my feelings. That would break my heart. And honestly, I would turn around and I would sue them because it's illegal to be using anyone's photo without their permission, most of the time written consent. So when you go to Google and you search for a photo of whatever topic that you're trying to find, and you save that photo from the internet, and then you use it for your personal things, this is copyright infringement and it is illegal. When you take any photos off of Pinterest without permission from the original creator, this is copyright infringement. When you screenshot a picture from Pinterest, when you screenshot anything, that is copyright infringement. This is why all of a sudden, one day, all of these quotes that were coming up on Facebook were in video form. Hello, kitty tail. It's because companies were getting mad about the fact that people were saving and sharing their creations without any credit back to them. This is why watermarks exist. This is why when those videos are playing that you're resharing, even if they're just quotes, the reason why there's little airplanes flying all over the picture or there's little tick marks flying all over the photo is so that people can't screenshot it and then save it and share it as if it were their own. The companies want credit for their photos. I've seen people on Instagram, creators getting very, very upset that their work was being shared, that people are screenshotting their pictures and posting it on their profiles without any sort of credit whatsoever back to them. This is a huge fine, and I just don't want to see anybody getting in trouble for this. So please stop going to Google to find your photos. Please stop going to Pinterest to find your photos. If there is a quote that you like, I highly suggest retyping it, remaking it into a graphic, like one of the ones that I'm about to show you how to make, and post it for yourself. And obviously, if it's a quote, make sure you quote the person who originally came up with that quote. As far as finding backgrounds for your photos, WordSwag has a beautiful collection of photos that you can use, same as Canva, all for free. And I will also link below and mention right now that there are 2 websites that I recommend for getting free stock photos that you can use free and clear without any worry of copyright infringement. These are photos that people have put out on the internet and said it's okay for you to use these photos. The first website is pexels.com and the second one is unsplash.com. Both highly recommend for any photos that you can use free and clear, and you should have no excuse to be using Google anymore or Pinterest to find the backgrounds or photos for things that you need to promote your business or anything. And one last thing that I would like to mention, please stop screenshotting anything online and then sharing it as your own. I am so tired of seeing pictures being shared on Facebook where you can see all of the Pinterest stuff around the photo or the big black bars around the photos. That's just telling everybody that you stole that picture from somebody. You're stealing that from them, and this is not okay. Stop doing that, please. One last thing, I promise that I'm done with my rants. Make sure that these photos that you're making and sharing are high quality images and that they're not pixely. How many times have you ever looked at a photo and it's just so low quality and you're just like, what even is this? I see it so often, and that just tells me that that photo has been screenshot and saved and shared and then screenshot again and then saved and then shared, which first of all, like I just said, is a huge no-no anyways to begin with. You should be making your own original graphics because it doesn't take that much time, but still, please stop doing this. It looks way more professional when you have your own crisp, clean images to use and share across all of your platforms. People will look at you and see your photos as a professional, and that's exactly what we all want to do. Now, let's jump into the editing process. Here we go. So I'm using an iPhone to edit all of my things today, and this might look a little bit different if you have an Android or any other phone. Like I said earlier, there's tons of beautiful photos that you can use as the background to anything that you're typing in WordSwag. There's a lot of really cool things in here, but if you aren't able to find something that you love in what they have, you can always just use the search bar up top to try and look for something more specific as to what you want in your background. In this case, I'm looking for a galaxy type photo to put in the background of my words. So on the next screen, after you select your photo, as you can see, there's tons of different options here on the bottom where you can actually select something specific to what you're making. So if you're making an Instagram post and you want it to be square, then you would select the square. Or if you want to make a cover photo for a page or a group or an event, all of those options are in here as well, which makes it a little bit easier to create a graphic specific to where you're putting it. And now I'm just going to select square for a Facebook post. So once you've selected how you want it to be cropped, it'll bring you to your next screen where you will bring up your text that you can edit, and it kind of gives you a little tutorial on how you can rotate it and make it a different size. And then at the bottom, There are so many different text options, which is really, really cool, and they've recently added that in, new text options. And then there's also text colors at the bottom too, so you can change up to any of these tons of options at the bottom, and then you can also adjust how your background picture looks as well. You can put a filter over it, or if you want to adjust the brightness or blurriness of the background photo, you can do that as well. Typically, I just leave mine as it was, but sometimes I'll darken it up just to make the font pop a little bit more in the front, or I'll blur out the background. So to change your text, you just double click on the text itself, and that's where you'll type in whatever it is that you're wanting to type. There's a little option down at the bottom that I'll explain in a little bit, the auto line break. For this, since we want it to be a list of things, I want to turn auto line breaks off. And I'm just typing in whatever I want, and then when I'm done with that first line, I'll press return to go to the next line. Basically, you want to make it in list form because that's how you want it to show up on your picture. And again, you'll want to select auto line break to the other side, that little shifty bar thing that you see there on the left. You can actually take that and turn that off so that these will stay in list form as opposed to putting it in one giant paragraph. And I'll show you what that looks like here in a sec. Then you'll want to press save and close, and that's when it'll bring you back to your photo with all of your text. And this is where you'll make any changes to the font that you want on how you want that to look, which of course is personal preference. You can select whichever one you want. And then underneath that, you'll see that there's the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, which will give you different versions of that same text, which is really cool to play around with. And if you're not happy with the way that any of the numbers 1 through 5 look, you can hit the dice option, which will kind of select a randomized type thing for you. So it'll just kind of mix it up a little bit and just give you different versions of what they have already on options 1 through 5. As you can see, I'm super indecisive when it comes to picking a font that I love. There's so many cool options. Sometimes I spend way too long on trying to find something that my heart loves. I ended up just going with this one and then clicking numbers 1 through 5 to see what my other options were. And it looks like I went with something else again because I wasn't happy with that one. And I finally picked one, and that one is going to be just perfect for this. I made it just a little bit bigger by putting both of my fingers on it and just widening it up just a little bit. And I go in and just play with some of the colors to see what really shows up well on the background that I chose. Typically I just go with white because that's what pops the most. But again, if you want to go with something else, that's totally fine. You can adjust the transparency on the bottom because sometimes just a plain bold white just doesn't look too great. And sometimes just kind of lightening it up just a little bit makes it a little bit easier on the eyes. You can also invert the image, which means that it will basically just put the background that you chose on the font, and that's it. If you are branded and you use specific colors for your branding, this is where you can actually click and type in HTML code, color code. And if you don't know what that is, it's definitely worth Googling because you can just customize this a little bit more. And I actually sometimes prefer this so that it goes with my branding and the colors that I use for that. And you can type in a specific color to match that, and it will flow better with all of your things. So in this case, I chose this orange color, and that's one of my colors that I have written down as one of my color codes. And then I just press add text up at the top, and this is where you can add additional text to your photo, which is really awesome. They just added this in not too long ago. Before, you'd have to save the photo and then re-import it and then add text, and it just really took away the quality of the photo. And as you can see, sometimes it's a little bit hard to click on that second text. So you might have to move your first text out of the way a little bit. That way you're able to double click on your second text or third text that you add to your photo. So I'm just adding hashtag this is Volo over to the left-hand side. And again, I just rotated that so that it fit right there on the left-hand side. Choosing a new font for that and making sure everything's lined up nice and even and pretty. And this is where I'll show you, if you have the auto line break turned the other way, this is going to put all of your stuff in a non-list form. So as you can see, yoga, crystal, it's all in one line, and I just didn't want that. I wanted it to all be separate and in a list form. So if your list isn't coming up in a list form, then it's probably because your auto line break is not turned on or off. And just so you can see as an example of what's on the left-hand side, since you're probably wondering what those are, I think that this is a really cool option that WordSwag has, that you can actually click on the options on the left and it will give you a quote under whatever it is that you're clicking on. So if you're looking to make just a really quick graphic and not have to type anything, then you can just click on something over on the left-hand side and it'll give you some inspiration or a quote just to put there quickly, and you can just throw that into your graphic and edit from there. And since I was just showing you that as an example, it wouldn't let me exit out of there until I entered in some text. So I just typed in oops, and then I just clicked on my word and then just deleted that layer to get rid of it. And then once you're done, you just go up top and click save, and you should be able to save that straight to your camera roll from there, and you can use it wherever you need to. Now we're going to jump into Canva, and just like WordSwag, it has a ton of options for whatever you need to do, wherever you need to put it. And I think that Canva has a lot more options as far as, you know, what you're using it for Instagram, for Facebook, for a cover photo, things like that. And they have tons of beautiful already made graphics, which I think is really cool. So if you're looking for something just super quick and easy and something that you are not wanting to really edit, then you can just save it straight from there. And you can still search for what you're looking for exactly. You can kind of just narrow it down to a topic that you're looking for. Some of these options are free. Some of them you can get through the Canva business option, which is a paid option, but it's really cool because they actually have more options for you. But I actually use the free version of Canva for a really long time. Right now I'm on the free trial of the business option and I'm loving it. I might end up just keeping it. I thought this one was perfect for shining Volo, if you will. It just really spoke volumes to me as far as what I'm going for when I think about Volo. So now you can go in and actually change the text if you don't like what's there. And the one thing that I find a little bit frustrating with this app sometimes is that you sometimes have a hard time clicking on exactly what you want to edit. So you should be able to ungroup them because sometimes they'll stay grouped together and it's a lot easier if you ungroup them, and then that way you can edit them individually. And I just clicked on the text that I wanted to edit, changed it, and then I'm going to change the one below as well. And you can just drag and drop these wherever you think they look good on your photo. And then you can also go in and change the font. There's a ton of great font options in here. And I was just trying to find something that fit the vibe of the photo. And you can also go in again and change the font color just like you could with word swag, and it'll pick up colors from the photo that you can use. And again, this is that HTML coloring code that I spoke about in word swag, so you can change it according to your branding in here as well. Canva's business package also has an option to create your own branding package in there as well, so it'll actually end up saving the colors that you use with your branding, which is really nice, so that way you don't have to re-enter different HTML codes every single time you go in there. So if you're using the business option, you can go in and add those in for the branding package as well. What's really cool about Canva is that you can adjust the line height and letter spacing. So as you can see there, I was just adjusting so that the letters were closer together to fit it all in one line. And you can also change it from bold or italic, or you can center it, put it to the left, put it to the right. So just a few more options as far as adjusting things in here than there is in word swag. There's also options for putting shapes behind your words. So if you wanted to put a square around your text, you can do that. For this one, I just actually chose a really cool symbol that I thought would look neat underneath the wording, just to add a little bit something to the photo to make it pop just a little bit more. And on this, you can also change the color, and you can adjust the transparency of this as well. If you want to use one of your own photos or one that you pulled from one of the websites that I gave you earlier, you can change the background photo as well. You don't have to use what Canva has available for you. You can also add in your own logo if you need to, which is really cool. If you have a watermark or anything like that that you need to put on the photo, you can do that as well. And you can also adjust the background image with a filter that they provide for you if you want to. And there's lots more options in here as far as editing that background photo for brightness and saturation and things like that. Just a little bit more detailed than what word swag has. So if you go back to your designs, it actually saves all of the previous designs that you've done. And I was having a hard time trying to figure out why I couldn't get this to save. And at some point I accidentally created another page. So in the bottom left, you can see that there's pages, and you can't save it if there's more than one page. So I had to delete the one and then just keep the one that I did originally, and then I was able to save it from there. And this takes just a minute, just because there's a few more layers in this than there is in word swag, so it just takes a couple of minutes, well, not a couple of minutes, but a couple of seconds to get this to save. And then you should be able to save image, and it'll go right into your camera roll for you to use wherever you need to. I hope you guys found this video super helpful. Don't forget to subscribe, leave some love in the comments, and give the video a thumbs up. And check out the description of this video for all of the websites and information that you need from the video itself that I had mentioned. Have a beautiful day.